Hola amigos, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Emma Bennet. I'm a contemporary romance author, although at the moment I'm writing my first Regency romance. I'm also a freelance developmental editor and a writing coach, and today I am wanting to chat to you guys about my top 10 takeaways from You Must Market Your Book by Honoree. This is part of a collaboration with a few of my absolute favourite author tubers. I'll be linking the videos down below, and this video will be part of lists with their videos. So it's a collaboration with the wonderful Shannon, also known as SD Houston, Margaret Pinard, and the lovely Andy from Self Pub with Andy. Okay, so this book, what is it about? So basically, Honoree, she wrote another book, which I actually have as well, because I'm reading that one at the moment. You Must Write a Book. And it was extremely popular because she does a great job with her writing and her marketing, but she had a lot of people asking her for more marketing advice after they'd read that book, and so she decided to write this book, which is incredibly useful. It's only a small book, but it does have a lot of information in it. What I would say before I get into kind of the things that I took away from it is that this is mainly aimed towards non-fiction authors, I would say. There was quite a bit that I could take away from it as a fiction author, but it's definitely more geared towards non-fiction. And also some of the things that she suggests and that she does, which work amazingly for her and apparently bring in an awful lot of money to her business, just aren't really applicable to many of us authors. Like, for example, one of the suggestions that she makes is that you give away a lot of your copies, that you order a whole load of paperback copies and give them away to basically anybody you meet. So I think she said that she'd given away, like with the other book, kind of more than 500 copies, like physical copies of it, as well as many ebook copies as well. So most of us just could not afford to do that. But the point is that because she has courses that lead on from these books, the book that she's giving to people, she's hoping they'll read it and they'll really like it, and then they will go on and book her courses, which obviously cost a lot more than a paperback book. So that's a very different marketing strategy to what most of us would be doing as authors. Anyway, I'm taking this really seriously today. I even have notes. I have notes on my laptop here. Let's just get them up. Here we go. Right, so first of all, what do we mean by book marketing? So she had a really great quote about this. She says, book marketing is an author's strategic, that's important, execution of identifying and appealing to prospective readers, and can include advertising, branding, pricing, and sales. So there's a lot that is encompassed under the marketing umbrella, and she really does go into quite a lot in this book. The only thing that she doesn't cover in a great deal of detail, which a lot of us find very important with our book marketing, is social media. And she says that that's because social media is just changing such a lot that, she didn't kind of want to make her book outdated, I'm guessing, before it even came out, because these things are always just changing. Anyway, so the first takeaway was to be nice. That's my number one takeaway. So the examples that she uses are people like very famous actors who always stop, they always speak to people, they sign autographs, they smile. They're the ones who are hanging out long after some of the other people from the film have left, and they're still there shaking hands, making connections and things like that. You want to come across positively, and positive, basically. You want to be a positive influence to other people, and for them to know that about you, and it will draw them to you. My second takeaway is to study what other people in your industry are doing and copy it if it suits you. So I thought that little caveat at the end was really great, because not everything that somebody else does when they're marketing their book will either be applicable to your book, or it might just not be something that you really want to do. Like, for example, I know that authors have a lot of success on TikTok. Now, I do have videos on TikTok, but I really don't kind of make videos especially for TikTok, and I don't spend a lot of time on there. There's a lot more that I could do on it, but we don't have time for everything. And so I choose to focus my attentions elsewhere, whereas other authors might spend a lot more time on TikTok. And whatever marketing strategy you decide to go with, following, making sure that you check out what other people are doing and what's working for them, you need to stick with it for a certain amount of time to make sure that you know whether it's going to work or not. There's no point in trying something for like a week and then going, oh, I'm not getting anywhere, and leaving it in most cases. These things often take time to build up momentum. So with your marketing strategy, what she says, and what I agree with, is that you need to know not only what you're doing, but you also need to know how long you're going to do it for and why you are doing it, what you expect it to do for you and for your books. So number 3, this is possibly the most important takeaway actually, and it is to know your ideal reader. So your books are not going to be for everyone. I know that not everybody is going to want to read my contemporary romances, and that is absolutely fine. There are plenty of people out there who do. You want to be marketing to your ideal reader. You want to know who is likely to buy your books, be interested in your books, and work out where they are. Where are they on social media? What websites are they visiting? What do they do in their spare time? Once you have an idea of this, then you can work out a marketing strategy that makes sure that you are getting in touch with those people in particular and not just the general populace, many of whom are not going to be interested in your books. And anytime you consider adding anything into your marketing strategy, you need to make sure that you question whether this ideal reader would be able to find your book through this avenue and whether they would find that avenue interesting, whether it would lead to a sale, essentially. Number 4, when getting down to the actual nitty-gritty of marketing in this book, she says, the thing I focus most intensely on is engagement. The social media platforms I've chosen to engage with, my email list, readers who leave reviews, and other authors and experts. I really liked her suggestions for forming connections with other authors in particular. She talks about building a bench of author friends and developing these mutually beneficial relationships with other authors, so that you get lots and lots of tips and support, and you'll also always have someone to complain to when something goes wrong, which it inevitably will at some point. Number 5 it's quite a little tip, but I thought it was quite handy, and it's to have a monthly theme for your newsletter. She does go into how important it is to have a newsletter, but it can be very hard to be always thinking of a topic to write on. So I thought this tip was really helpful. Connected to this, you can post your newsletters on LinkedIn. I did not know this, but then again, I don't know a lot about LinkedIn, and that's one of the things I'm going to be doing for my social media for authors series, which I will try to remember to link down in the description below if you are interested in checking out those videos and you haven't already. The other thing that she says about newsletters is that you can recycle content. So every couple of years, what she does is she goes through what she's written for the previous 2 years, and she sees what the most popular topics and things are, and then she will cover those again. She might just kind of tweak what she's done and basically you know reuse that content, which I thought was a pretty handy thing to suggest. I'm not sure that would necessarily work for all of us. To be honest, the instance that she talks about in particular was that she ran a blog and it was all about being a single mum, and it was topics to do with that. So what she said in that case is that her readers, they tended to visit her blog for 2 to 3 years, and then they kind of didn't anymore. So the new people that came on would then be getting the new content, even though she was recycling it. So I thought it was a handy hint, although maybe not completely applicable to all of us. The next tip is to work out how much time you have for marketing. There's not really a lot of point to planning out this massive marketing strategy, which involves you spending 2 hours a day on your laptop doing various things, when you really don't have that much time to do marketing. If you've only got 5 minutes every day, then at the very least you know that, and you can do like a post on Instagram with a really fantastic review of your book or something like that to showcase that people have liked it. You know, just be aware of how much time that you've actually got and what you can fit into that time. My next takeaway from her, I like this one, is she says this a few times, it's brilliant. Your book is not an avocado, she says. It does not go off. So what she means by this is just because your book is a year or so old, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't still be marketing for it and trying to look for new avenues to get it to new people. Obviously there are some books, like for example, if I wrote a book on how to succeed in social media in 2023, well, come next year there's not going to be many people wanting to buy that because they're going to want a 2024 version. So that kind of is like an avocado, but with most books, yeah, you can keep marketing them for a long time after they come out and people will still be interested. Takeaway number 8 is to follow the breadcrumbs. You can't necessarily have everything all planned out, although you should definitely plan out a marketing strategy, she says. But if you find there's interest in you writing a book about a side character, for example, that maybe you didn't consider writing a book about, you might want to follow up on that. Or, for example, if you see that your Instagram posts are really, really popular and they're doing much better than your Twitter posts, even though you were spending more time on your Twitter posts, it might be worth you kind of deviating a little bit and spending more time on Instagram if that's what's going to lead to more people discovering your books. Tip number 9 is regularly check in with your mental and physical health. I think as authors, we all know that writing can be really, really draining, and so can marketing and all the extra things that we're now expected to do as authors. So it's just really, really important to check in on yourself regularly and see how you're doing. And regardless of how well your marketing campaign is doing, if you're not doing well because you're putting too much pressure on yourself, then you might want to consider taking a step back and changing things up so that there's less pressure on you. And the final tip, maybe this is the most important one actually, and it is to write your next book. If you've got a book out there and you're marketing it and people are buying it and people are reading it and they're reviewing it, you need to get another book out so that those people who've enjoyed your first book will come along and hopefully buy, read and review your second book. So yeah, so like I say, not everything in this book is necessarily applicable to everyone, and especially not to fiction authors, but I did think that there was a lot of useful stuff in there, and it is definitely worth reading before you start before you properly get your marketing campaign going. A lot of what she says though is also applicable if you have already got a book out and you have already done some marketing. There's a lot that you can pick up and use, and she's got a lot of very useful ideas, and there's also plenty of links in there as well that you can follow to things on her website where she's got kind of spreadsheets to help you and stuff like that. So I thought that that was really good as well. Okay guys, well thank you so much for joining me for this video. I really, really hope that it was useful and that you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider pressing that like button and subscribing if you're not already, because we do have a lot of fun over here. Also, make sure that you check out the rest of the videos on this playlist to see what my friends thought of this book, and I will catch you in the next one.